George H.W. Bush, Domestic and Foreign Policies.
Bush was born in 1924 and served as the 41st President of the United States from 1989 to 1993, with Dan Quayle as his Vice President. He also served as Vice President under Ronald Reagan. During his presidency, the Cold War came to an end with the collapse of the Soviet Union.
No new taxes. Bush famously said in his speech, "Read my lips, no new taxes," in which he promised that he would not add any new taxes under his presidency. This helped him win in 1988 against Michael Dukakis, because the statement was very popular among Republicans and other independents. After he was elected, the economy worsened, and Democrats in the government pushed for raising taxes, and he eventually caved despite knowing the consequences. Various taxes were raised in the Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act of 1990, and the media attacked Bush, including the New York Post, which stated, "Read my lips, I lied." This was one reason why Bush lost to Clinton in the following election. The ADA was signed into law on July 26, 1990, and standing for the Americans with Disabilities Act, it protected people with disabilities by preventing various forms of discrimination. It was compared to the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the collapse of the Berlin Wall. Bush was even compared to President Lincoln because of his work in civil rights. This is Bush signing the ADA. The Exxon Valdez oil spill took place on March 24, 1989, in which the Exxon Valdez tanker crashed into Bligh Reef in Alaska and lost about 11 million gallons of oil. Coverage of affected wildlife pushed the government to take legislative action, including the Oil Pollution Act of 1990, which was passed on August 18th. It improved measures to prevent, prepare for, and respond to oil spills, and led to the creation of the Oil Spill Liability Trust Fund, which helps pay for cleanups. Bush wasn't blamed in the press and was seen as a bystander to the incident.
START, or the Strategic Treaty, Arms Reduction Treaty, was signed July 31st, 1991, signed between the United States and the Soviet Union. It required reduction of both superpowers to reduce their nuclear weapons. Eventually, the Soviet Union dissolved in December 1991. The remaining countries, Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, and Kazakhstan, were in possession of the remaining nuclear weapons. By May 23rd, 1992, the other Soviet Union successor states signed the Lisbon Treaty, which forced all five nations to accept the terms of START 1. The treaty finally entered into force on December 5th, 1994, and reductions were complete by December 5th, 2001. A similar START 2 was signed in January 1993, but never went into full force. The Persian Gulf War was nicknamed Operation Desert Storm, and it began in 1991 when Iraqi President Saddam Hussein ordered the invasion of Kuwait. They invaded in early August of 1990, and in response, the United Nations Security Council ordered Hussein to withdraw from Kuwait by January 1991. When Hussein refused to leave Kuwait in time, the U.S. responded by leading a 42-country air offensive. The war lasted about 42 days, and Bush declared a ceasefire on February 28th. The Immigration Act of 1990 was passed by the 101st Congress. It modified rules surrounding family immigration, business immigration, naturalization, and deportation. It also classified different types of immigrants as priority workers, uh, second tier immigrants as people with exceptional ability, and third tier immigrants as skilled workers. It also introduced a green card lottery, which would award visas to countries that saw low levels of immigration to the U.S. The act also established a temporary protected status, which benefited citizens of El Salvador during the Civil War. Foreign-born percentage of the U.S. population rose from 7.9% to 11.1% during Bush's administration.
For domestic policy, I believe Bush should receive a C plus because he completely went against his word when he promised that he would not be implementing any new taxes. This is remembered as a major pitfall in his presidency and was a major reason he was not reelected. The ADA was a great accomplishment for the Bush administration. To this day, it helps people with disabilities receive fairer treatment. And Bush's reaction to the Exxon Valdez oil spill was delayed, causing more damage than necessary. However, the Oil Pollution Act of 1990 has helped protect the environment from future oil spills since.
For foreign policy, I believe Bush should receive an A minus. He successfully eased U.S. and Soviet tensions by reducing nuclear arms. Um, his effort to reduce tensions would slowly lead to the end of the Cold War and would offer a future that didn't seem full of nuclear warfare. He also saw success in removing Iraq from Kuwait, and his initiative in leading the 42 country coalition proved that the United States could effectively exhibit its military strength throughout the world. And Bush as well made great accomplishments by updating the immigration policies of the United States to be more modern and offer different ways to classify different kind of immigrants. The modernization of these policies allowed for a better system of attaining citizenship and provided sanction to people in places of war throughout the world.